Welcome, everybody. Assalamu alaikum to everybody who is Egyptian also or Muslim, and shout out to everybody else. How are you guys doing today? Today we're going to be talking about Mohamed Elneny and his most recent interview. We're going to get into what he said in this interview and everything else. We're going to talk about it in depth, and then we're going to get into the contract situation at the end. But first things first, if you guys could do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let me know what you guys are saying throughout this video. Personally, there was a lot of things spoken about in this video that I just wanted to mention, just bring up that Mohamed Elneny did talk about. Sorry, let me just get this piece of paper for the timestamps. Okay, so Mohamed Elneny did speak about a bunch of topics. He spoke about in the interview. He first spoke about his Arsenal career. Then he spoke about his relationship with Mikel Arteta. He spoke about his motivation in football and what drives him, and then the possibility of a new contract. So let's get into it. Let's speak about it right now, and let's get straight into the interview. So if you guys don't know, the interview was done on an Egyptian channel, and these are some of the quotes from the interview. The first thing that he said, let me get this. Let me get this. Can you guys see what I'm looking at? Okay, perfect. So Mohamed Elneny says, I will tell you something I've never told anyone. When I finished my loan, the club told me to find another team. Arteta does not have me in his plans. It was over. So he was told to find another club, and that Arteta had no plans to keep him. And this was something that he's never ever told anyone. Then they called my agent and told my agent to start looking for other clubs. That's what Mohamed Elneny said, right? Suggestions to go back to Arsenal in preseason. Agent suggested to go back to Arsenal for preseason. I told him if that is what the club wants, then fine. If they don't, then I had a great season at Besiktas, and they want me as do other EPL clubs or Premier League clubs, right? Then he goes on to say how Mikel Arteta and the club decided for him to go back for preseason, but remember, Arteta had me outside of his plans. I trained well. I played the first preseason game. I scored a goal from the halfway. That was true. If you guys remember, he scored a goal from halfway in one of our preseason games. I'm not sure. Is it against Rangers or Hibernia? One of those two. But he scored a screamer in that game. Or was it against Chelsea? I forget. But it was one of those preseason games. He scored a screamer, right? And then what else do they have in this interview? They also spoke about another thing here. Then he started to speak about Arteta. Arteta started to see and then gave me instructions. I knew what he wanted, and I could read his plan. I was executing it to the letter. Any instructions, I swear, I executed it to the letter. And he's speaking about his relationship with Mikel Arteta and how he listened to everything Mikel Arteta wanted from him, and how he went through and executed everything that Mikel Arteta asked from him. This was crucial and key in winning over Mikel Arteta's trust and getting to the situation where we are today, where he's playing game in, game out, right? Here's another thing. He brought me in after that, and honestly, I said I was not in his plans before, but he has changed his mind, and he has told the club that I'm a very important player. I am not part of the outside of his plans anymore. This right here is where you start to see everything unfold, and you start to consider, like, this is where he's saying something very important that we need to pay attention to. He's saying he brought me in after that, and honestly said I was not. After he said I was not in his plans, but now has changed his mind and has told me and the club that I'm a very important player and I'm now part of his plan, part of his plans. This is important. This is a very important part right there. That is a very important part right there that we cannot ignore. Um, you talk about Arsenal and the club in such a good stature, and the manager Arteta, who was under Guardiola. You know what it means to be able to change his mind and his perspective. So he's just talking about how much he has changed Mikel Arteta's mind and how he's changed his perspective and how he feels like this is such a good thing for him, and how a man who's worked under Pep Guardiola, who how good of a manager Pep Guardiola is and how much of a footballing mind he has, and the fact that they've worked together and he's able to change Mikel Arteta's mind. He just feels like, you know what, this is something good. This just shows how much Mikel Arteta respects me and how much he has plans for me, right? Then I can pinpoint but explain now my maybe third or fourth. He can pinpoint and he can explain now that maybe I am third or fourth choice for Mikel Arteta in my position, and the players starting are doing well. So I cannot. So are doing so well, so he cannot rotate the players. So he was just speaking about his situation at Arsenal. And if you guys want, I will put the link to the full video. It is right here. I will put the link to the full video afterwards in the description if you guys want to check out the full video. But I just felt like this was a good interview. I felt like this was a really good interview. And I felt like this interview had a lot of key parts of Mohamed Elneny's character and just development in his role at Arsenal this season. You can see that he's clearly a great professional. These are amazing quotes. These quotes are very important to show that he's following the manager's instructions, that he is listening to the letter of the law of what Mikel Arteta is saying. He's building a relationship with Mikel Arteta as this was going along. Arteta is now using him part of his plans, and this was a good interview. It was done on Egyptian television. He is one of the key parts to the Egyptian national team. I know obviously he's not as key as Mohamed Elneny, but for me, listening to this interview, he goes in depth about his role. He goes in depth about how he felt like the club did not want him, and now he feels wanted and loved again. And this is where the conversations of Mohamed Elneny's contract starts coming up. This is where people start saying, should we give him a new contract? Shouldn't we give him a new contract? Personally, I like Mohamed Elneny. If the club offer him a new 2-year contract, or I feel like it would be well deserved. This is a player who, if you guys remember, just recently, we treated quite poorly. Yes, we treated him quite poorly, if you remember, to the point where he even did an interview where he was like, guys, he was saying something like, guys, when you're a footballer, you want to be loved by your fans and you want to be supported, not criticized continuously. We have, honestly, Mohamed Elneny has never done anything wrong, in the sense that he's not been a guy who's continuously made error after error. He's not been a guy who's come out there and been terrible week in, week out. He's not a guy who's come out there and dropped stinker after stinker. He's not a guy who's come out there and disrespected the fans or done anything like that. He's been nothing but an utmost professional. And I feel like this run that he's on, and the fact that he's going to be able to be a big part of us securing top four and Champions League football, and the fact that Mikel Arteta is looking at him as a key cog in this side, I think he should be respected. I think he does deserve a little bit more respect, and maybe we should even consider giving him a new contract. 2 years, in my opinion, doesn't hurt. Let me know what you guys think. I'm going to wrap it up right here. Assalamu alaikum, and you guys have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful day. I will be back later today, hopefully, with a North London Derby special. I have already made the thumbnail if you haven't already seen. So that is that. This is the North London Derby special right there. And if you guys haven't already seen, we do have another video that's currently out on the channel. This is the Yuri Tillemans, Raheem Sterling, Gabriel Jesus triple swoop video, so you can go check that out also. But thank you for watching, guys. Have yourselves a wonderful day, and I'm out, guys. EGTV. What's going on, everybody? I need you guys to go check out my channel and subscribe if you're new, and don't forget to subscribe, hit that button and hit that notification bell.